Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. Can we talk about Transformers? Yes, hello, greetings, all that good stuff / jazz. This is the Can We Talk About podcast, and we love Can We Talking About things from the 80s, a decade we cannot seem to escape from.
We're trapped.
In rare instances.
Sometimes the 90s.
Though in contrast to the neon nightmares and pastel phantasms of old, we are now delving into that most blasé and beige, the gray and ghoulish series of might and metal. I did write series twice, that's why I said it twice, because I'm Ron Burgundy.
It sounded natural.
Actual 80s cartoon classic, The Transformers. I have a small brain. I am Joe.
I'll do as I'm told, for now. I'm Kristen.
And we are watching Transformers Generation 1 via Tubi. I learned through Kristen continuity notes on the Transformers wiki that the version that is up on Tubi is the Rhino release of the DVDs, which have a bit of problem sometimes, where it was one of those things where they touted remastered animation, but it was actually, there were things that happened where they would use incorrect takes in some of the shots.
Weird, and did they perhaps lose some audio? Because there were points in this episode where there was 2 straight minutes of silence?
I don't know. That's something that we'll have to see as it goes on, but essentially we might end up seeing more animation errors than usual because of this DVD release.
Perfect. I love it.
This week, Kristen, is the episode you have been waiting for.
And it ended up being a little bit of a wet fart.
It is SOS Dinobots, no relation to the Japanese title of Divide and Conquer, SOS Cybertron.
Very different.
We see some robots play God.
That part is great.
Grimlock has a weird-shaped head in a few shots because they used an old character model.
They get pushed around like they're Trojan horses that just have wheels. Sometimes they walk. It's great.
They slide on the frame because the animator was too lazy to even kind of move it up and down a little bit.
We don't have time for that.
But that's all stuff we can get into as we go. So let's munch metal, Kristen.
Not in this episode.
Transformers, more than meets the eye. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons. The Transformers, robots in disguise. The Transformers, more than meets the eye. The Transformers.
SOS Dinobots, written by Donald F. Glut, who gave us Divide and Conquer. So Divide and Conquer, we just mentioned.
SOS Cybertron.
SOS Cybertron, yeah.
SOS Cybertron in Japanese.
SOS Dinobots. So Donald F. Glut has a few episodes still in the can up until season 3, so he doesn't write a ton of episodes. He's very much the Roger Slifer, we'll say, of this equation, maybe. Although Roger Slifer wrote important episodes, so maybe not. He's the Mary Screens, how about?
Now I'm just going back and retroactively thinking, SOS, more than meets the eye. SOS, roll for it. SOS. Fire in the sky, was that it?
Transport to SOS Oblivion.
Yes. It all sounds great.
Every time Donald Glut's episodes come up, it's going to be SOS something or other, which I hopefully won't forget because he writes the next Dinobots episode 2 episodes from now.
His name is pretty memorable, so I think we'll be good.
Anyway, Kristen, we start much like Fire in the Sky. Majestic trumpets like it's fucking Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which...
Yeah, it seemed like we were going to pan into the Ark and there was going to be like a Ren Fair going on in it.
Renaissance robot.
Yo! Thanks to some of the shit that I've seen, I know they go back in time at some point. So it's just a matter of time.
It's a stock 80s plot. Somebody dropped Journey Through Time's script into Jem's pile by accident instead of the Transformers pile.
Yes, and I can't wait for it. I have no idea what season it is. Starscream deserves a castle.
So Ironhide is explaining to Optimus that there are some tremors going on in old Washington, in old Utah, Washington, wherever we are.
Yep,
And what's weird, Kristen, is I feel like this doesn't really come up after this. It's a means for them to find the Dinobots, but...
So what it sounds like actually happens is there have been some earthquakes.
Yes.
And they're like, this is suspicious. Except it's just an earthquake, I guess, because unless those dinosaur bones are jumping up and down, I'm not sure how they actually found them.
Yeah, so Ironhide puts the finger of suspicion on Rumble, saying that it's his, junk punk's MO, basically.
We get some good Rumble action in this episode.
And Spike, for some reason, just goes up against a rock wall in the Ark and is just like, wait a minute, the tremors are coming most powerfully from here. And
he licks the tip of his finger and lifts it into the air, and he's like, I think it's coming from over here. I am a geologist.
I thought you were going to say he licks the wall.
I thought about saying that, so good instinct.
Ironhide then uses his sonadar sensors. Don't know what that is.
Okay, sonar radar?
Oh, sonadar.
I believe sonar and radar are two different things, which is why they're different words.
Which is why a robot can do both of them at once.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. See, I was going to say, but I guess I can't even actually tell you the difference between the two of them, so once again, I am mirroring the audience of a pretty uneducated little kid as I watch.
Sonar is sound and radar is motion, I think?
That sounds right.
Maybe? Not sure. Sonar is definitely sound. Radar just, I've gone through my entire life, Kristen, not really questioning what radar is, just accepting it.
I mean, it's never come up in my day-to-day life.
Ironhide's chest window then flickers like a TV screen. And it shows off a Triceratops skull. He's just like, wait a minute, there's some weird bones in here.
You know what's great news, Joe?
Yes.
I can recognize Ironhide now.
After the long conversation that we had.
Now every single time I see him, I'm like, I know who you are, you son of a bitch. Which is its own distraction.
So Sideswipe and Brawn start chipping away at the rock wall here.
They just start punching it.
They want to see what's underneath. Apparently, Sideswipe has like piston fists or something, but he just uses it like a pickaxe in this scene.
To just chip away at it. Whatever. They were really lucky that the bones appeared to be in their own cave inside the volcano. And that they just didn't, split open a bunch of bones while they were working. Not that they need the bones for anything anyway, but it's still nice to, preserve these artifacts. They just kind of find them and go, nice, let's leave these here.
They find a cave here that just has dinosaur bones in it, which I don't think is how you find dinosaur bones, but it's a cartoon, so who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I don't think so either. So Spike starts to talk about what dinosaurs are, which is great because little kids know nothing about dinosaurs, of course.
Little kids and the Autobots need to learn about dinosaurs.
So part of the explanation is that the dinosaurs lived on Earth millions of years ago, correct?
Yes.
So in our last episode, we discussed that the Transformers are, of course, the original Native Americans. So, Joe.
Yes.
Who's the real Native American? The Transformers? Or the dinosaurs? They don't say how many millions of years. Could be more than 4, could be less than 4.
I believe dinosaurs are more than 4 million years ago. We're getting into eras that I'm not terribly aware of, so
I love being ignorant about science, because I can just say whatever I want, and it has no effect on my life because I'm an artist.
So I do know that, specifically looking again at notes on the Transformers wiki, in the little diorama that Spike makes with Hound's holograms later, the Brontosaurus and the T-Rex are hanging out, which the Brontosaurus is apparently from a completely different era. Well, the Brontosaurus doesn't fucking exist, first of all.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. Not too long ago, our good pal Madeline and I went to the Academy of Natural Sciences in Philadelphia, partially because we knew that they had a bug room there, and we thought it would be a good idea for me to get up close and personal with some roaches in a controlled environment. But it was funny because we were walking around looking at a bunch of dinosaur stuff, and it's very funny as an adult to go back to a place with, like, a museum with dinosaur things and go, they could be making all this shit up. They don't know this is true.
We've come a long way since the 80s, Kristen.
I mean, I think I would need to see Beast Wars before I made a definitive judgment on how right Transformers got any of this.
The only thing that I learned from this is Jazz thinks that the dinos were ugly suckers.
That's rich coming from him.
He's cool. Jazz is a Porsche, I think.
He's got a weird square face, just like all of them.
All of the Autobots want to learn more about the dinosaurs here, so transition, and Kristen, we're back at a dam.
Joe!
Again!
I'm beginning to think that the Decepticons really only have one type of plan. And it involves dam destruction.
So, well, I'm sorry.
How many fucking waterfalls are there in Utah?
It's not a dam. It is some kind of hydroelectric base off to the side of a waterfall.
I think that's called a dam.
Soundwave and Reflector are here. Reflector's taking pictures of the waterfall like that. Like, they don't know how the fuck a waterfall works,
Megatron!
Kristen.
I found a cool new thing. It's called a waterfall.
And Soundwave has a weird, like, tentacle microphone to overhear the tourists, I guess.
Snaking up the leg of the guy running the dam, and he's like, ooh, I can get off.
The tourist dad is just like, so as long as the water goes over the falls here, it will make hydroelectric energy, and
the logical conclusion to this is, it will make electricity forever. Which, like, okay, renewable resources, okay. I don't think makes electricity forever is the, like, one-to-one, yes, that is how that works.
Not exactly correct, no. So the Decepticons are going off of the dad ramblings of a tourist dad, then.
Sounds great, and things almost go okay for them.
Their fact-finding mission is over. They fly back to the Decepticon base, and back to transition.
Okay, so, Joe, I cannot believe the cartoon would give me a present like this. Which is a shot of a museum.
Yes.
And I was like, please tell me the fucking Autobots are just walking around this museum. And oh, Joe, they are.
Just one is walking around. I thought it was going to be all of them, that they would all go there.
It would have been great if it were a whole field trip.
The scene is structured in a very weird way, where we see Hound and Spike going to look at the dinosaur bones, and Hound basically... well, first of all, he walks by a punk rock man who says, "Talk about heavy metal!"
Very funny joke. I don't know what it is with Hasbro and making jokes about the punk subculture. They seem into it.
And he uses some kind of hologram beam, Hound does, to somehow just get the structure of the dinosaurs so he can basically show and tell to the Autobots, this is the diorama I was talking about before, basically.
Yeah, sure. So I guess scan the bones, sure, whatever. This is how dinosaurs are made, quote unquote. I'm putting a lot on faith here.
What is weird is Hound holograms one of the dinosaurs, and then immediately we are back at the Ark, and this is being broadcast to everybody. I don't know if...
Joe, a lot of stuff happens in this episode. We don't have time to show them walking back.
So at this point, Spike starts explaining, yes, dinosaurs are not intelligent. They got tiny brains.
Spike doesn't know that for a fact. Has he ever met one?
He's using his 14-year-old science man history, Kristen.
I learned in my environmental science grade school class that dinosaurs were not very smart, and that's why they're all dead.
We are 8 years away from Jurassic Park, Kristen.
I don't know anything about dinosaurs either. I'll stop complaining.
So basically that they're big, powerful, but they're not very smart, and Wheeljack at this point is just like, if only we had some dinosaurs working for us.
Icarus, may I introduce you to the sun?
Flying a little close. Now, to be fair, we got two Icari here, because Ratchet is just like...
Ratchet is just fueling this bad idea.
Like, well, we could make robot dinosaurs. How about that?
But we should probably ask, again, for some reason, full name, Optimus Prime first.
They need permission from Dad. Dad, can we please play God and make some members of our own species based off of giant tyrant lizards?
Huffer is there to briefly be a big whip blanket like usual, but Optimus is like, yeah, go for it. Optimus also clearly doesn't think this through that much.
We get another transition here as Teletran... I guess this is there should have been a montage song over this, because this is the montage.
Yeah, so a lot of people are actually kind of putting in resources to help build these dumb robots. Even Spike's walking around with, like, fucking blueprints or something. Like, what the hell is he doing? He's like, yeah, that shape's about right. It
may have been a bit of a misnomer to say that it was only Wheeljack who created the Dinobots. But he is certainly the driving force of the episode in regards to them.
Yeah, I'm comfortable, pinning all the blame on Wheeljack for this one. A little bit of Ratchet too, but mostly Wheeljack.
We get another transition, which is like the 30 seconds here.
I'm running out of breath now.
We're back to the Decepticon base, and Megatron, again, they've done the damn plan before, Kristen.
A dam! That is very interesting. Let's consider this.
To be fair, we do often say, man, if only the Decepticons tried this plan again, but it would be different if they were like, oh yeah, we tried that before.
This is at least the third time.
That was close. Let's try it again. We may as well.
Yeah, who cares? They won't expect us to do it again.
So Megatron has his speech here. It's a constant energy source to destroy the Autobots forever, blah, blah, blah. Decepticons prepare for conquest, and they leave.
Is that supposed to be Megatron's phrase?
For transform and roll out. Decepticons prepare for it may have been Donald F. Glutt trying it out. Like, he heard about transform and roll out and was like, oh, yeah.
I'm a fan of prepare for conquest.
So again, transition. Now, Wheeljack is here presenting the creations with Ratchet. So again, they take point here. Everybody helped out. And some of the Autobots make fun of Wheeljack like they weren't helping too.
They're like, this fucking weird mad scientist and his ungodly experiments.
Windcharger Kristen, who I forgot about, finally has his first line in 8 episodes.
I didn't even notice him.
The only thing I remember Windcharger doing was he was part of Hound's hologram plan in the first episode when the Autobots were all at the fake base wearing lab coats and shit.
So, great. That's another guy I'm gonna have to remember.
He says, "Get on with it," and that's basically it.
Cool, so he's a fucking wisecracking cool dude.
The 9th Italian Autobot.
It really starts to feel like family at a point, Joe.
So Ratchet speaks with Wheeljack's voice here because, of course, Autobots meet Dinobots.
Whoa.
Whoa.
We saw the plans for them. We know what they look like. And yet they're still confused.
There's more weird animation here where Blue Streak is kind of just like, wow, how about that? Holy cow. Where I think it should have been mixed more centrally. It's just...
Wow, are you saying the crowd commentary is mixed badly in this cartoon? Weird. It's almost like I've been saying that for 7 episodes.
So we get Grimlock, Slag, and Sludge here, which, Kristen, you can't call Slag anymore, since that's a fairly rude word in UK land.
Yeah, so is Fanny.
Yes, it is. That is true.
Oh man, I think I joked earlier when you were talking about the other Dinobots that there was one called Snarl. And you have in your notes here that, yeah.
Well, the thing is, when they're usually making Dinobots nowadays, like Dinobot toys, like the ones in Transformers Animated, it's like Grimlock's obviously the one that they're going to make the most. And then
he's the husband.
If they need to make a second or third one, it's usually going to be Slag, who, because he can't be called Slag, gets the name of another Dinobot, Snarl, occasionally, or in most recent instances, Slug as a name.
I mean, sure.
And Swoop, who we don't see yet, is the third one, just so they can get a good variety. Cause
you said that Swoop's a pterodactyl?
Yes.
Sounds like a bat. Swoop the Bat, my favorite Sonic the Hedgehog character.
So Huffer makes a comment here that's supposed to be a joke, which is, I believe, I don't want to say a running gag, because that implies that it's a gag, but...
It implies it might be funny.
Autobots making a joke that only they laugh at happens twice in this episode. Huffer goes, "Dinobots? I thought you were making dinosaurs!"
Again, they did see the plans for them and were actively helping work on them, so I guess that's why everyone else was like, okay.
Ratchet commands the Dinobots to transform, so they do.
This entire time, they say nothing. They don't talk until the last part of the episode.
They started out as robots, by the way, so that's the first thing.
Yes, so then they turn into their dinosaur selves.
And Wheeljack immediately puts them to work here and is just like, so, alright, you see all that rubble on the floor, Dinobots? Get rid of that really quick.
So everyone in this episode has lasers? Of some kind or another, which, hey, sure, I don't really see how dinosaurs, so Wheeljack needed to be accurate on the fact that the dinosaurs had tiny brains. Did Spike neglect to say that they also didn't have laser eyes?
For some reason, yes, Wheeljack is just, at this moment, mentions to Optimus, like, oh yeah, the brains are really, really fucky and bad, and not actually, they're barely functional, but,
Optimus, you know me. I'm all about authenticity. In that regard, these Dinobots over here, the biggest dumbasses you'll ever meet.
Now, considering Kristen...
Someone say good job, Wheeljack.
They get a memory upgrade before the episode's over, and they're still... incredible dumbasses.
Wheeljack is committed to the bit, Joe. The Dinobots are like, alright, fuck this.
Apparently it's supposed to be a thing. I feel like it's a piece of Dinobot lore that in their dinosaur forms, they're naturally more aggressive and shitty, I think.
Oh, you mean, they would do things like catch a jet in their mouth.
They would do things like start smacking the shit out of everybody for no reason.
On my way. So, I'm a fan of these Agents of Chaos so far. It kind of almost fits the general cartoon stereotype of, like, beat these guys and then they become your friends.
Very much JoJo Part 4.
Yes, absolutely. And then they get really small.
Optimus is immediately like, we gotta fucking stop these people. But nobody
he
seems...
goes from, like...
zero to murder.
Let's subdue the Dinobots to eventually it's like, we gotta kill these things now.
Nobody seems to learn either, Kristen, that firing lasers at the Dinobots does almost absolutely nothing, and if you're firing at
Well,
slags...
what it does do is it reflects off of them.
Yes, bounces and causes more destruction.
So everyone's just firing their lasers willy-nilly. So my favorite thing is that Grimlock starts to do his little non-walk. He just slides in the frame in another direction. And Bumblebee starts to head after him. And then Spike is like, let me in! Don't ask why. I just want to come.
The exact wording he used was, you're going to need some help. You? You're gonna help?
You're gonna do it, okay. And Sparkplug's like, what the fuck?
So, not only that,
Joe, I'm not even sure why Sparkplug is here anymore.
Bumblebee stopping to pick up Spike wastes just enough time so that Grimlock can blow up Teletran 1.
Great job, best buds. You know who wouldn't have let this happen?
Hound?
Chip Chase.
Chip Chase, there, yeah. Where's he been these past few episodes?
I miss him.
End of segment 1, Teletran is blowing the fuck up.
They fixed it pretty fast, good for them. Apparently it's just that easy to make over their super advanced computer.
At the beginning of segment 2, Bumblebee tumblebees with Spike inside of him still.
Yeah, Spike hoists himself out of the passenger side window while Bumblebee is on his side, which is pretty funny. When Ratchet comes in, he's like, oh my god, Teletran. Meanwhile, Bumblebee is in a pile of rubble on his side.
To be fair, Ratchet does help Bumblebee back onto 4 wheels, like, here you go, little buddy.
There's some really great animation here that you put in your notes as well. It just all looks wrong.
Ratchet's stuck in one frame as Bumblebee drives away, still talking to Ratchet.
Yes, and Ratchet, does a weird, yeah, jazz hands pose, where he covers up Bumblebee with his knee at one point, too. There's some real good stuff here.
Bumblebee, I guess, is trying to draw Grimlock away, because Spike...
starts throwing rocks at him and calling him stupid. The classic gambit.
Spike goes, there goes an Autobot with guts.
And he salutes him.
And even while this chaos is still going on, Ratchet's like, well, may as well try to fix the computer, I guess.
Bumblebee would be fine, or at the very least he'll, meet Skyfire in the great beyond.
Meanwhile, Ironhide is getting smacked the fuck around. So not only do lasers not work, but even a powerful guy like Ironhide is getting his shit destroyed by a big, stupid brontosaurus.
Trailbreaker is there and uses a force field that he doesn't actually use to protect anyone.
Other than himself.
Yeah, we pan over and Sunstreaker is on fire, but he's like, man! He's taking it pretty well.
He's going, hey, oh, watch the face. Don't want to cry. I don't know why did he turn into Christopher Walken?
Sometimes your voice just does that.
He goes, hey, watch the face. I just got it chromed. There we go.
What does that mean?
That's what I was looking for. He got it buffed? I don't know. A facial, maybe?
By who? That seems sexy.
One of these Autobots is a I was going to say hairdresser, but that's not a beautician. There we go.
Ooh, I like the sound of that. Who would it be, Joe? Come on.
Ooh, Autobot beautician. I'm going to immediately put it on Windcharger because he's had one line so far.
I guess that makes sense. Fine. I don't like your answer, but I accept it.
He has absolutely no character, so I can't put it on an established character. As of yet. Windcharger probably has a greatly expanded character in the comics that I don't know nothing about. Looks
like we gotta read some Wikipedia pages.
So Optimus is, at this point, just, yes, he's at final, the needle has gone all the way, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna blow up the Dinobots. Here we go.
Okay, if you guys are just gonna keep shooting them and destroying everything yourselves, we gotta kill these fucking Dinobots somehow.
Wheeljack comes in and is like, wait a minute, I got
my kids!
One more thing I want to try here. And he fires a sleep ray at them, basically.
Yep, and they just kind of get, and they're fine again. Man, it is at this point in the episode where I'm really like, how long have we been watching this? I haven't heard Starscream say a single fucking thing.
Wheeljack doesn't want to pull the plug on the Dinobots just yet, but Optimus is just like, these things need to be dead and buried forever, so they seal them...
so stone cold.
They seal them right back in the cave where they found the bones.
Joe?
Yes?
What is it with the Transformers and shooting at caves to seal them off?
Considering that it never works as a means to keep something trapped forever.
It's literally never worked a single time.
I have no idea, Kristen.
And yeah, they just kind of, they don't disassemble them, which would probably take how long? Who knows? They just pop them back in there, save them for a rainy day.
That would be murder, Kristen, so...
Oh, it's better to cask of Amontillado them?
Oh, where's Montresor sounds like the name of a transformer.
It does. This would be like if Montresor hit Fortunato over the head and then put him behind the bricks. It's kind of worse.
No, because you gotta watch him just be like, wait a minute, why are you bricking me up? What are you doing here, my man? That's
true. The Dinobots never have to wake up until they're okay again.
The Dinobots, even then, if they were awake, they can't even speak at this point, so they wouldn't even understand that there's no Amontillado back here.
They're just like, dark, okay, time to sleep.
So we get another transition. Back to the Decepticon plot for the episode
thank
after
God.
that, 8-minute segue.
So yeah, the majority of the episode is the Autobots creating their own fucking problem.
They all roll up on the dam here, and Skywarp scares off the guards while also firing their rifles out of their hands.
Amazing aim. Yeah, they have guns. That always still freaks my shit a little bit when I see it in cartoons. Why rifles?
Guards? I don't know. That's a good question, though.
They going hunting? They looking for birds to shoot? I don't know anything about guns. What am I talking about?
So, the generators are being shut down here, and the humans still inside that did not run away apparently know not only about Teletran 1, but know how to contact it directly.
Yeah, it's the new 911, Joe. It's the phone with the smiley face from the Powerpuff Girls.
Ratchet is still working on Teletran, of course, so the distress call does not go through.
And they're just like, oh god! They don't even think about calling the police.
Ravage gets released at this point, and I don't think Soundwave has a line in this episode, which is weird considering,
He says something at some point, I don't remember what the fuck it is. But man, I appreciate the amount of care and effort they put into the animations of Ravage smashing through glass. Time and time again, that is the best looking thing in these episodes.
He slams himself into the window and then uses laser eyes to blow up the computer they were using to try to contact Teletran 1.
So is this the first time we've seen Ravage with laser eyes?
I think Ravage used laser eyes before. I want to say I forget.
Remember that.
But
again, I am a fan.
This is not Donald F. Glutt's first episode, remember, so...
True. So, my favorite next thing that happens is Megatron lands in front of a rainbow, for atmosphere, and he says, gay rights!
Now, Kristen, the rainbow is something that was added in the Rhino DVD release because it was not in the broadcast, and it was not in the subsequent Shout Factory release of the Transformers.
So, they added a weird atmospheric rainbow.
Yes.
But they couldn't add any more dialogue to that weird 2 minutes of silence later.
I don't know, Kristen.
I'm just saying, Joe, I got a lot of questions, and you're the only person I have to bounce them off.
So after Megatron says gay rights, he also proclaims that this dam is now the dominion of the Decepticons.
That's the same exact thing as saying gay rights.
And gay people.
Yay! Starscream's like, woo! Yeah! So Hound and Spike are just hanging out. And I say hanging out, they're apparently on, scout duty, they have, Hound's radar that picks up Decepticons.
Hound, not only is Hound's radar, the gun, the mounted gun.
Yes, that's another good point.
On the back of the Jeep.
It's not like a satellite dish or anything.
If you remember in More Than Meets the Eye, Trailbreaker was the one who had the big fucking satellite dish to find the Decepticons.
No, Joe, I don't remember.
So, this is, I don't understand how this happens. Hound, first of all, Hound likes sightseeing. He is fine, he's like, oh, I don't mind.
I get to see Earth because apparently every other moment of every single day I am trapped inside the Ark. I forgot what it was called for a second.
Hound is able to see that there's energy spikes or the seismic activity or whatever.
He smells the stink of Decepticons. He's like, wait a minute, it's very pissy over there.
And he takes out his hologram gun and manages to project what he believes is happening over up on the ridge, is I think what he describes it as. And of course he's going to have confirmation bias because
I know what that is.
There's the Decepticons and he's just like, wait a minute, I was right. Haha, look at that. So Hound calls over to Optimus at this point and goes, I've spotted the Decepticons, which you haven't, Hound. Again, confirmation.
No, you didn't. He's lucky he's right.
It could have been birds, Kristen. We don't know.
Could have just been Laserbeak tending to his nest. Oh, Laserbeak's not in this episode.
Laserbeak is mentioned in this episode, Kristen, just not there.
Oh, maybe I missed that. There were definitely a couple of times where something just stupid enough happened that I coughed because I was laughing so suddenly. And I just kind of, completely blacked out for a few seconds.
Optimus says that they will be there in 8,000 astroseconds, which, Kristen, finally, it sounds like they're using the number correctly again.
I mean, does it really mean anything at all?
Autobots, transform! Not you, Bumblebee. No, you gotta stay here, actually.
There's a really great animation of Bumblebee starting to transform and then them just reversing the animation of him being like, what? I was in the middle of a thing there.
So everyone else rolls out here. Wheeljack is staying behind to work on something. And
I think Ratchet's still there, too.
Yeah, Ratchet's still working on Teletran. They're the
My
only
favorite
ones...
thing about this rollout sequence is that you hear goo goo over and over and over again. And the frame pans across, and it's just a bunch of cars that have already transformed. So they're like, we're done. That is quite enough animating.
So back at the dam, the generators are looking more making rainbowy energon cubes.
It's all the gay rights in there.
Megatron boasts, again, unlimited energy, whatever. And then Starscream plays the role of Huffer really quick, where he's just like, so, Megatron, the energy may be unlimited, but there are, Autobots we might have to worry about.
I mean, any other episode he would be 100% right. And they do show up still. Megatron is on the fucking ball this episode, though.
Well, you say that, Kristen. Megatron goes, oh, don't worry, Starscream, I have a plan. But we find out the plan later is just, attack the Autobots.
I mean, there is a little bit more strategy than usual involved. Also worth noting, when they start to enact the plan later, Starscream must have just gotten filled in because he's part of that plan that he previously knew nothing about, but...
So, Spike, Kristen, is going on the dangerous Autobot mission again. Again! Again.
I mean, what would they do without him, Joe?
The Autobots all drive to a cliff overlooking the base, which apparently moved to the other side of the waterfall, I guess, because I'm pretty sure it was on the left. Pretty sure it was on the left before, and now it's on the right. Blue Streak comments that Hound might have glitch mice in his databanks because the Decepticons aren't here.
What the fuck does that mean?
It sounds like a funky way of saying he got a virus.
Like, I'm trying to think, is glitch mice some kind of play on words that I'm just not getting?
No, it's robot human thing, again, like oil cake, kind of.
I'm not a fan of it. Oil cake was much better. At least I fucking understood what they were talking about.
Again, Blue Streak laughs and nobody seems to find the joke funny, other than him.
And pretty soon afterwards, they begin getting their shit kicked in.
So yes, here's where Megatron goes, Decepticons, let's enact the plan, which they all just fly out of somewhere and start firing lasers.
They just attack.
And Starscream calls Ironhide Rusty Pants?
Rusty Pants! Oh, sure, rusty iron,
Rusty
hide pants.
Hands? Like no...
I heard pants.
No stick surface?
Yeah, he's a non-stick skillet.
So some Autobots start flying, Kristen. And I thought we were done with this.
Joe, it's even better in this episode because they do all fall off of a cliff. And if they can fly, how the fuck do they fall into the river?
Gears is the one who is flying. And he hits Blue Streak out of the air. But then, again, the same fucking thing happens where we immediately see Blue Streak on the ground firing lasers. So one of them must be Prowl.
I don't know and I don't care.
Rumble is taunting the Autobots here as he's flying around. Can't seem to hit him at all because he's a little tiny guy, so he has the most to gain from flying around.
Again, I'm loving this idiot in this episode. Him and Starscream, after my own heart.
Spike notices Megatron hooking up some wires to his fusion cannon, his scope cannon arm thing.
Sure.
Which Megatron name drops as such, which I forget if he called it that before, but that's been the name of... Most Megatrons will have a big fucking cannon on their arm, and 90% of the time it's called the fusion cannon.
So we have some cannon. Fantastic.
Oh, cannon! Cannon!
That's why they call it that, Joe.
Rumble starts pile-driving shit at Megatron's behest, and then Megatron fires at the cliff the Autobots were on, which sends it all a-crumbling and a-tumbling down into the river below.
And they all forget they can fly.
End of segment 2, the Autobots are ... drowning, ?
They're very wet, at least.
Which apparently, it's very unknown, Kristen, the ill effects of water on Transformers, because Hound went right to the...
Is it bad that I am less bothered by Transformers ending up in water and weird shit happening than I am of Gem ending up in water? And hologram stuff not happening. I really don't care about the Transformers.
Kristen, you forget that there's a human in one of these equations, so you assume that the laws of normal human things will apply to them.
That's true, and that's my mistake, and I'll stop doing that.
Segment 3 starts. Bumblebee rolls up on Spike here. He disobeyed the order of Optimus to stay behind, but...
I guess his spider senses were tingling, I guess.
I had to do something. I had to come and see ya, I guess.
So here I am to help. I just saw all of our friends fall off a cliff over there, so I think we should be Splitsville about now.
We transition, and Starscream is like, okay, what's next? And Megatron decides, okay, so we're gonna drudge their waterlogged corpses out of the water, and then blow them up or something, maybe.
And then we're gonna take them apart piece by piece.
He says permanent dysfunction is the terminology here, which I don't think... I understand. Okay, so function.
I don't think dysfunction's the right word.
No, I don't think
I think
so.
dysfunction sounds temporary. I think he means deactivation.
I think that would have been a better word there. Eh.
It's like the cartoon is telling us not to get too pedantic.
Back to the Autobot base.
Every time someone writes something and someone starts to ask a question in the writer's room.
Quick transition, end the scene, it's over.
Don't worry about it. Guys, we don't have that much time.
Bumblebee arrives with Spike here. Teletran is fixed, but Ratchet can't contact Optimus Prime.
It's because he might be dead, but hopefully he's just broke.
We gotta go and we gotta fight all the Decepticons. And Ratchet's like, we don't... It's just us now. It's 3 Autobots and a human.
They beat every single one of the Autobots but us.
Not all of the Autobots went to we don't see all of the... I don't think Sunstreaker showed...
Where are they? Where are they, Joe?
Out on patrol, of course.
Of course, obviously.
Wheeljack brings up, okay, so I've been working on the brains thing for the Dinobots, and if we put the brains thing on the Dinobots, we could control them better. Maybe.
I'm not sure when he had time to do this. But yeah, he has some little headsets hanging out, so they're like, well, we're not supposed to turn on the Dinobots again. Optimus was pretty clear about that.
So, Kristen, Bumblebee is the person who brings this up, which is rich, coming from the guy who just disobeyed Optimus.
I mean, it's fine when I do it, but I don't know about you guys.
And then Wheeljack offers the very succinct, you got any other ideas?
They really, really drive home the Wheeljack's flashing ears in this episode with how much he talks. And it's distracting no matter how many times I see it.
That is just how he talks, Kristen.
I know! I hope it stops feeling weird eventually.
The Dinobots are fitted with the memory upgrades. They blow open the door of the cave again, because of course, the rubble probably just moved aside and they could see the Dinobots at this point.
They probably just could have picked some up.
And Spike says, cross your transistors, or something.
That sounds like an ad-lib from the voice actor. Like, I'm not sure about this line, but it's what it says on the paper.
Dinobots, awaken!
So they start to gurt back to life, and Wheeljack is like, okay, guys, listen very carefully. Please. Let's go save our friends and your leader, Optimus Prime. Got that?
And all of the Dinobots just kind of go, okay.
They think about it really hard.
They're there for 15 minutes before one of them responds.
And Grimlock, man, God, he was so disappointing in this episode from what I know from him later. Really all he says is, we do what we told. For now.
Before they blow up the other side of the wall and fly off.
They just kind of Kool-Aid Man out of the mountain. Which is great.
Back to Megatron. Apparently they were indeed able to drudge up the waterlogged corpses of the Autobots and are now...
And then chain them up with Energon?
Bound by Energon chains.
How much bullshit is like, that's just Energon noun, is there going to be through this whole series? I just want to know up front.
Energon is supposed to be, like, fuel, so he hooked him up. He put, he used a garden hose to tie him up, it sounds like.
Okay, Joe.
Also, Optimus is entirely blue in a shot.
Yeah, is that to show that he's corpse-like or something? Because apparently they're all, like, short-circuited from the water. It's like he's pale, his lips are blue, his whole body is blue.
I think it's just an animation error.
Yeah, I think so, too.
The Decepticons are about to firing squad the fuck out of the Autobots when the Dinobots arrive, all flying in. Wheeljack is there, too.
It's too bad. It was going to be pretty savage. This is 2 episodes in a row that we had a weird firing squad sort of situation going on.
And
yeah, stand against the wall there. Close your eyes. Here's a cigarette. See you in hell.
I do like this little exchange where Slag is like, which one's friends? And then Sludge is like, the ones with this thing, pointing at the Autobot symbol.
And they're just like, okay.
Slag is just like, all right.
Hey, it's good logic.
The Decepticons don't, like, retreat or scatter or anything as the Dinobots are firing lasers.
They are like, what the fuck is that? Which is the correct reaction.
Scrap metal! Once we finish with them, at least.
That's not how it goes. That's some wishful thinking.
Wheeljack fires it's called a destabilizer shell or something from his shoulder cannon, which hits Megatron directly in the tummy, and it makes his... makes his fusion cannon fly off of his arm, as per once per episode per usual, and then Megatron's down on all fours like, oh fuck my equilibrium, oh god!
So I hadn't realized that I've seen this clip actually several times before actually seeing this episode. But again, Megatron gets hit once and Starscream is like, guys! I'm in charge now. We need to go. Bye. Okay, come on. Me, leader. See you later.
Megatron has fallen. I am the leader of the Decepticons. So follow me.
Come on, Starscream. Like, at least use that opportunity to pop one in Megatron's head and finish him off.
Oh no, my null ray. Oh shit, look what happened.
Oh fuck. Oh no. Weird. Things didn't go great.
So the other Decepticons start following, of flying around, just enacting the same...
jet attacks that happen.
The same strategy as before, just firing lasers, dropping bombs and things.
Unfortunately, the Dinobots got real hard skin.
Thundercracker uses a purple flamethrower, which does nothing to Slag.
Yeah.
And he gets fires shot right back at him, as well as some laser horns.
Again, just lasers all over the place in this episode. I think it was at this point where there were so many pew, 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 pew noises that I was like, fucking stop! You're gonna melt my brain.
Rumble starts pile driving here because he's braver than literally everyone else. And
you know what he also does, Joe?
Yes.
He says a weird little funky rhyme to introduce himself before he starts rumbling.
Shake, rattle, and tumble, rumble, something like that?
Something like that.
I didn't write it
Apparently
down.
That's his cool catchphrase he came up with, and he's like, I'm gonna try something out. I hope my friends like it.
And then Sludge stomps the ground and does just as much damage as Rumble, cracking the earth and making him fall onto his ass as he screams, "That's no fair!"
I love this kid.
Skywarp fires off one of his heat-seeking missiles, which does nothing, and then Grimlock catches his wing in his teeth.
That was definitely my favorite piece of animation in this episode. Maybe my favorite piece of animation so far. He's just like, fuck you, buddy.
And then he tosses Skywarp aside as he tumbles directly into Soundwave.
He transforms, I guess, to go out of a potential nosedive and just crashes into Soundwave.
I bet it really hurts if, like, the nose cone hits the ground or something of the jet, so...
Probably.
So,
Joe, have you ever had a basketball hit the bridge of your glasses?
I've had a dodgeball hit the bridge of my glasses.
Gym class was rough as a kid with glasses.
I'm assuming, yes, he transforms so he doesn't get grounded immediately to the bridge of his nose. So he doesn't get a basketball at the bridge of his nose, and he tumbles into Soundwave as a result.
So while all this dumb shit is happening, Megatron kind of scrambles to his feet and transforms upward into a very big gun that just kind of hooks onto Starscream's butt.
Onto his underside, which you could categorize the underside of the jet as a butt. I would think the thrusters would be the butt, so I'm going to say that Starscream...
Joe, Starscream is all butts.
Starscream is basically nose cone and butt, and that's it.
Yeah, that's really it.
So, Wheeljack finds a pile of weapons nearby that belong to the chained Autobots.
For some reason, we need to make this one step more complicated.
And he says here, so... Sideswipe's flare gun will dry out your circuits, and then Blue Streak has an electric gun, which will make it so you get an instant recharge.
Joe, why does he have a gun that heals people?
I don't know.
That doesn't make sense to me.
He's not Ratchet, so he shouldn't. He's not the fucking Team Fortress 2 medic. He shouldn't. He shouldn't have a heal gun.
Doesn't make sense. Maybe he turned it to low.
Maybe.
And it just refilled them.
These are all, again, I'm sure that there was a lot of reading of the tech specs in this episode for what kind of weapons the Autobot should have, and that, like, Sideswipe has a pile driver hand, and Ironhide has the Sonadar, and...
Yeah, somewhere in the Transformers Bible, they were like, really talk about the cool weapons that each of these guys have. We want the kids to think, oh my god, a flare gun.
Thundercracker's tech specs say he has incendiary weapons. Okay, fine, give him a flamethrower.
Awesome. Perfect.
Why does a jet have a flamethrower? Fuck it.
Because he has a cool Thundercracker name. You know, like fireworks.
Megatron's firepower doesn't really even phase the Dinobots here, and at this point Megatron's like, oh fuck, we gotta get out of here.
This is not going well, let's just go. Even Starscream's like, okay.
And as they all blast off, Skywarp is colored like Starscream.
Good, more of them.
Ba-na-na-na-na.
Woo!
Bumblebee apologizes here for disobeying orders. For both himself and Wheeljack, basically, too.
They basically prostrate themselves in front of Optimus Prime, who, again, they keep calling him that over and over and over again. And they're like, whatever punishment you see fit, we accept it.
And
Oh god, please don't kill me!
But Spike goes, so if they didn't disobey orders, you'd all be gone. So how about that, big boy?
Octopus is like, you got me there. The Dinobots are cool.
The Dinobots shall remain among us.
Yay!
Oh, because they kicked the bad guy's ass and not your ass this time? Stupid?
Yes. They pulled their weight. They are now controllable.
Maybe.
Who knows?
As
We'll see in 2 episodes, I guess.
The episode ends and the Dinobots are all roaring and that's it.
Yep. I thought there was going to be maybe like one other thing that happens in the episode, but nope.
So that was SOS Dinobots, Kristen, and maybe it's just me, but I've gotten more used to episodes of Gem, where I know we complained about songs ending the episode, but at least a song is...
It feels like an end to something.
Yes, whereas...
It might as well be end credits, but before the end credits.
Whereas the Dinobots just roaring and being like, yeah, and last episode, where they don't even leave the fucking Arctic, they're all just looking around.
They're just saluting.
At Skyfire, and that's it, that's the end of the episode. They
couldn't even pan up to an American flag at 50% opacity over the landscape.
It's a little jarring, is all I'm saying.
Just a little bit. But hey, by this point, the kids definitely stop paying attention. Also, they keep trying to pack way too much story into these fucking episodes.
Well, again, when you're introducing 3 new characters on top of a cast of already more than 20, sometimes it's difficult.
Joe, that shot when they were introducing the Dinobots and it panned across all the Autobots, I was like, oh my god!
Who are you?
There's so many!
Also, Kristen, we talked about a little before recording here. For some reason, I was under the impression that the Dinobots would just come out as fully developed characters, and...
Grimlock didn't munch any fucking metal. I mean, yes, he did a little bit of jet metal, but not... He had no personality.
He didn't really say anything. Most of them didn't say anything, which they were just going...
They all might as well be one character that are just dinosaur-shaped because little boys like dinosaurs.
Kind of. I mean, again, we have...
I don't want to be cynical about this cartoon that is essentially an advertisement, Joe, but it is so hard sometimes.
We have, in 2 episodes' time, there will be more Dinobots. They will do more things. There will be more Dinobot episodes on the horizon after that. So there's plenty of time for at least Grimlock to turn into the character. Grimlock, we don't go from this immediately to Grimlock and the Dinobots as they are in the Transformers movie. So... There's got to be
really a shame.
A bridge between them.
We'll get there, and I will wait for my favorite character, Grimlock, my second favorite character, Grimlock, to be fully formed.
Now's the point in the evening when I'll list off all of the fun contact things, where you can find us. You can follow us on the Twitter machine at cwtapod. You can follow me at Octopus, which is AWKTAPUS.
You can follow me at FunnyGirlTM, like trademark.
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on SoundCloud, on Stitcher Radio, on the YouTube even. Leave a rating, give a review, do whatever you feel like. You can also drop us a line, cwtapod@gmail.com, where you can tell us all about playing God with members of your species, as well as which character Windcharger is.
Yeah, no thanks. And Joe, an announcement.
Ooh.
I hate to break it to you, but Kristen Benton is going solo.
Oh,
no! By which I mean I'm starting my own side project, and it is called ASMR Relationships. Here's the boardroom pitch.
Okay.
ASMR Relationships is a meditative podcast combining soothing soundscapes and verbatim readings of posts from various Reddit advice boards. I have the host, which means me. Her personal commentary is limited to 1 or 2 sentences, so you can just sit back and enjoy the drama. I described it on the website that I'm hosting it on as the podcast equivalent of listening to gossip that has nothing to do with you.
Sounds fun.
Unless I did some serious locking off, the first episode should already be up. It'll be on its own podcast feed, but weekly episodes will be uploaded to the CWTA YouTube channel, and there will be a link to it in the description going forward. Help me out. Listen, rate, review, share with your friends, validate the fact that I call myself Funny Girl on Twitter, which is loaded.
It shows confidence, Kristen. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a comedic genius, and Joe, if my podcast works out, this podcast will just get slightly more popular.
Exactly.
That's the hope, isn't it?
Yeah, I should mention that I mentioned that I do a Pokemon League, whatever. By the time this episode goes up, the draft will already happen. Season 9 of the Pokemon Fun League, which I am a commissioner for. Coming soon. Coming now, kind of. At this point when this episode is released. Anyway, next time, Kristen, remember Jetfire?
What?
No, wait, I'm sorry, he wasn't a character. Remember Skyfire? About?
Barely.
Remember how he got buried under ice in the Arctic Circle?
Yes, I do remember that.
Well, fuck that. He is back. Fire on the Mountain is the next episode here, and apparently South America is involved. So let's hope there aren't any kids looking to go to El Norte. Or however you might say El Norte in Portuguese.
It was probably something like that.
Or Peruvian, because I believe it's some kind of Peru crystal that they're looking for.
Joe, why do you tell me these things in advance and just make me feel dread?
For the Can We Talk About podcast, my name is Joe.
I'm Kristen.
And join us next time for a Fiery Mountain.
Checks in the mail.